Okay, I'm with Karim Mustafa, an ex-HubSpotter. Welcome, Karim. We are both Karim. Karim, you are Karim. Can
Thank
you
you for
tell
having
us,
me, Kareem.
marhaba, welcome on our show.
مرحبا أهلا بك.
Can you tell us about yourself? Who are you, and where do you come from, and where do you speak from?
Yeah. So first of all, Kareem, like I know that I had the pleasure to meet you last time that you were here in Dublin at the HubSpot Partner Summit, and it was great for us to meet and talk about all the great work that you're doing with your channel consultant, Noemi. Shout out, Noemi.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, to tell you a bit about myself. So yeah, my name is Kareem, and I'm from Egypt, and I'm the co-founder of Tribe Tactics, and we are a marketing startup based here in Dublin.
Tribe Tactics. What are you doing at Tribe Tactics?
Yeah. So basically, so it's me and my brother, Amin. So I'm ex-HubSpot. He's ex-Google. We decided to get together, and we're building a subscription box company. And what we do is we deliver done-for-you content, and basically we're able to turn 1 hour of a brand's time into a full month of content across video, audio, and written. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a family business. So
it's like the Godfather. Yeah. Hopefully it gets that big, but we're still very in the early days. But we're learning a lot, though.
I'm very happy to have you on the show today, Karim. I wanted to talk with you about the trends. You were an HubSpotter for 2 or 3 years, maybe.
Yeah, about 2.5 years or so. Yeah.
You have helped a lot of agency like Nile to grow their business, and I think you have a very interesting point of view about the market and about what are the trends for the next year, etc. What is your point of view about what is going on inbound marketing, digital marketing for the years that are coming?
So first of all, I'm speaking to an expert, so I would actually ask you first. What are some of the things that you've seen work to date, and some of the things that you believe the future holds? I'd really love to get your thoughts as well.
In the French market, I think no, we have maturity for inbound marketing. When I started 3 years ago, it was something pretty new. Today, I have the impression that everybody is talking about inbound marketing. Even small businesses, even traditional businesses, we are working with manufacturers, and we saw that there is a strong trend to inbound marketing. So everybody is starting blogging, everybody is starting thinking about video, and I see that most of the companies that we are talking with are starting to think about technology. And one of the biggest trends I see for next year is companies that are going to integrate marketing technology in their IT system. And this is a very strong trend in France. Maybe you have some you have some events. If we see the French market in comparison with the other European market.
Yeah, for sure. So when I was, in terms of inbound marketing, I've spent a lot of time working with agencies in Africa, as well as in the Middle East, as well as in the UK. And it's interesting because, as you mentioned, Kareem, like different markets tend to have certain, different trends and different things that are going on for them right now. Having said that, there are still things that are overall trends which we're seeing develop. Some of those, of course, are, like you said, everyone is starting to realize the value of content. And you know that this has really become mainstream when even you watch comedians and you watch hip hop artists and people who are very successful, very mainstream, not necessarily marketers. And even when they go on shows, they're talking about content. When they ask this artist about another artist, they say, "Oh, what do you think of this other artist?" They say, "Oh, well, I really like the content that they're putting out." Yeah. So I feel like it's no longer a strategy. It's kind of like, having a website. back in the day, having a website used to be a strategy. Like our strategy is we're going to have a website. But now I feel like with content, this can no longer be a choice of strategy. It's most definitely something that you will have. It's just a question of what type of content you'll be creating. And I'll take that a bit further. People not too long ago used to say, you know what, one of our marketing strategies will be video. But now we live in a world where video cannot be a yes or no question. You must do video.
You must do video.
It's a question. This is not the question. The question is, what type of video are you going to start to create based on, of course, the audience that you're looking to add value to and build a relationship with.
How can you add value when everybody is going to make a video? Everybody is making content today. A lot of companies are blogging, are producing white papers, ebooks, webinars. How can we stand alone, be out of the crowd? If everybody is doing it, what are your advice to companies who want to to add value to their content?
Right. So once again, I feel like I'm speaking to an expert, but I'll tell you my own personal thoughts on this. One thing that we've really seen work a lot with agencies in the past is a very simple but powerful mind shift. Shifting from creating, in terms of lead gen, for example, shifting from creating content for download to actually creating toolkits. Creating actual assets that could be built in the form of calendars, in the form of Google Sheets, in the form of templates, things that people could start to use and get instant value from right away, as opposed to even more stuff that they can read. And we would rather take any of those ebooks and put them up online, because probably this content took a lot of time to produce. It's important for us to ensure that it gets as much traffic as it deserves. And so it would make sense to open that up for the public. But in terms of lead generation, certainly creating toolkits. And it's funny because many times, Karim, you'll find that this actually takes a lot less time to produce versus ebook, white paper, or something like that. And you get a lot more qualified leads, one would think, because if somebody is downloading a PowerPoint template, not a PowerPoint presentation, but a template for a presentation. They're probably working on something right now, and you can almost call them up later and say, how did your presentation go? Or how did your meeting go? So it's a very quick way to hit kind of two birds with one stone. That's in terms of lead gen. And then the other point, really important, that you mentioned as well is, okay, in terms of attracting traffic, how can I continue to stand out? Were you referring specifically to blogging or video or something else?
In general, with all this content, which is produced today, there's a lot of content. Big companies who have marketing teams are producing a lot of videos, of webinars, of ebooks, of blog. We see that the trend is to have multiple channel, multiple format to reach the audience. How can you still, for example, I started make a LinkedIn video. Maybe from the beginning, when they launched the functionality in LinkedIn, I was one of the first person to make video on LinkedIn. Today, everybody is making video on LinkedIn. You see everybody filming himself, taking video of himself with a smartphone. And I'm really ask myself, what can I do to be different, to bring something different? Because if everybody is doing the same thing, it's very difficult to stand alone.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some? I'll ask you the question again. Like, what are some things that you found were quite successful from your video experience?
The video, the most successful were video when I speak about problem of my prospect, of my leads. I am talking with one of my customers, my clients. He asks me a question. I give him the answer in a video. This is the most valuable videos and the most impactful video that we have. When I try to speak about trends, about myself, about the agency, we didn't have no results. So maybe one of the first thing is to make video that really bring value. That you can take from your experience from your customers, maybe it's the best way to start.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely a great way to start, especially if you're able to. So speaking for LinkedIn specifically, and I've worked before HubSpot. I was in
Yes,
LinkedIn.
I see that you have work for LinkedIn.
One of the things that we've that we have just been learning and we've noticed a lot is, of course, when you start to involve other people in the conversation or any status post that you make, by design, it's going to get more distribution, more free targeted distribution. And so in the example that you gave, which I love, in terms of answering the question of a customer, of course, if we're able to tag them in that, that will add more distribution. Another example of that would be to end it with a question and use this video as a way to actually start a conversation. And this is something we are trying to get like a little bit better at as well. But one thing that so it's almost lunch time, so I'll give you a lunch related example. Thinking of how to make the best video is kind of thinking like, you and me decide to open like a fine restaurant, for example, fine dining restaurant. Yeah. And we are thinking, right, should we focus on starters or should we focus on main courses or should we focus on desserts, and which one should we focus on? And of course, what we can quickly realize is we don't need to choose one or the other. We can make the entire experience integrated, and we come up with a set menu or an a la carte menu that addresses all of those. And what we mean by that is really, we believe that these days, the best way that companies can actually build strong, powerful relationships, which could be measured through engagement, but also in revenue, is to focus on the personal brands behind those company brands. And so video is just 1/3 of the game. I believe that with video, you'll be able to take that content, and if you strip the audio away, before you know it, you're now available on Spotify and iTunes as well. Yeah. And if you're able to take a few minutes to actually reiterate on the video that you've shot and maybe add a few more points, this could become an article as well. If you're able to take smaller, let's say it's a 5-minute video or like a 10-minute video, if you're able to take smaller 60-second segments of that or 15-second segments of that, that could start getting added onto Instagram and Instagram, both the feed and the stories as well. So before you know it, you're actually not just building content for distribution, you're actually building a lifestyle. You're available on audio, you're available on video, you're available on written. And rather than focusing on any one of them in particular, we focus on how are we continuing to build this overall lifestyle, or this overall kind of like restaurant, as opposed to just focusing too much on the starters or focusing too much on the main course. Would you agree?
This is a very important point that you mentioned, because when we need to make more and more content, because everybody's making content, we don't have infinite resource. So you need to organize, and I found that this is the best way to do it is to start from video, because with video, as you said, as you mentioned, you can extract a lot of format. Absolutely. You can distribute it everywhere, and video is a very, very good way to start a content strategy today.
Absolutely. One more thing as well is sometimes people realize, okay, well, sometimes people are a bit worried to start. And I know this because this was us. How can we make the most perfect video, the most perfect, like brilliant production? Most of our videos that are available on our YouTube channel and LinkedIn and stuff like that, most of this stuff is shot on smartphones, just smartphones on tripods. So that's the first thing. But the second thing as well is we're huge fans of Gary Vaynerchuk, which I'm sure you.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Gary.
Yeah. So one of the things he always talks about is, and I'm literally like quoting him right now, but document versus create. Yeah. And this idea of, hey, like, it's interesting. People consume content for two reasons: utility and usefulness, or entertainment, or ideally both, right? And so one thing that I believe could potentially hit both is actually documenting what you're doing, documenting your journey. If anybody is going from A to B, whether you're a basketball player, agency owner, business, whatever, B2B, B2C, I cannot think of any example where this will not work. Basically documenting your journey and telling people about what you've done today, or what you're planning to do, or what your thoughts are. Because Karim, I completely agree with you. There's a lot of people who like to create videos where they give advice to other people. And again, I'm paraphrasing Gary V here. But again, a good idea here is to, rather than giving people advice, especially when someone is starting out, they can shoot a video where they're giving advice to themselves, where they say, here's what we do to do X, Y, and Z. And of course, it could be a form of advice for others, potentially.
Don't you think, I have a problem with that. I understand the value of documenting versus creating new content, because you can, by documenting is more easy, I think, because you just have to have someone to take your smartphone and to, sometimes people can say, am I legitimate? Do I have the legitimacy to film, to record myself and to talk myself to a camera? What do you answer to them?
I think 100% yes, because you are not, because you're telling your story, and nobody can tell your story for you but you. You know, and again, as we mentioned, you know, as we were talking earlier, like, the videos don't have to always be giving advice. Some people think, I think it's called imposters syndrome, where yes, they know their stuff, but in the same time they feel like, you know, come on, I don't think I'm a real expert. You know, and we're like, even us, we're always learning every day. But if you're just documenting your story, hopefully there could be an entertainment value there, but it could also be very educational for others who may want to follow a similar path one day. Or who may just want to get to know that brand a little bit better as well. Because when you put out interesting content, even if it's about your favorite restaurants, which has nothing to do with marketing, for example, people will be like, this is interesting, which will get more traffic. And when that traffic comes, naturally, they look at the description or they'll check out the website or whatever. And essentially, you would have created more traffic. If anything, you're actually thinking a lot smarter than competitors, because now you're not just going after the obvious stuff. You're actually going over the overall lifestyle and recognizing that people, or that persona, right? Shout out HubSpot. The persona is, in terms of the psychographics, it's not just the professional life; it's their personal life as well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So by the documenting, you are adding value. You are building brand awareness. That is like this. We speak about brand awareness.
Yeah,
you can show the path, show the journey to people who want to take the same journey. Very interesting.
And this is all traffic back to your website. If you so choose. Yeah.
And it's a long term, as Gary Vaynerchuk say. It's a long term game. You are not playing for the short term.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you know, anything that you're truly passionate about. I think if you're not doing what you're passionate about, we should start there. Exactly. Yeah. But you know, so I don't have a problem with short term, long term, because anything that we truly care about is a long term thing anyway. For me, I used to think long term means, oh my God, I have to wait for so long before I see results. But now I have a different meaning for long term. Me and my brother, like, we think of long term as this is something that we will always believe in.
Well, one question I wanted to ask you. You are an ex-HubSpotter. You were working in the technology, marketing technology area.
Yeah.
When we talk about content, the question is where can I put my content? What are the biggest trends you see for the next year in terms of marketing platform, video marketing platform? I see there are a lot of video marketing platforms that are emerging. HubSpot is doing a partnership with Vidyard. What are your thoughts about those platforms and the technology we need to get results from the content?
Yeah. So first of all, the technology is very impressive. You know, for example, so I think HubSpot released it, quite recently, around you know, being able to capture video analytics on the videos that you have, which is absolutely incredible, because as you can imagine, based on how somebody interacts with the video, again, I feel like I'm talking to an expert, but based on you know, somebody seeing a video and what X% of you know, view they had of the duration of it, we'd be able to follow up with them and tailor the experience further to them. So I think it's really, really great. One thing that we really believe in is it all starts with the narrative and the story. And we really believe that, you know, if people love what you do, they will find a way to your contact us page, or they will call their friends and figure out who knows you so that they can get an introduction, because you just become so irresistible, so unstoppable in a way. You know, and again, I'm quoting Gary Vee, like for maybe the last time, but you know, they say Nike doesn't sell shoes because they've cookied you all around the internet. Yeah. Nike sells shoes because of the brand that they have. And anytime we create brand, by the way, brand tends to be a vague word these days. Brand these days is video, audio, and written. This is what brand is for us anyway. And if you have video, audio, and written content, people will find a way to get to you in ways that even the business can't even think of. And so with that in mind, coming back to the technology piece, I feel it's just an enabler for something that would already be there. So to summarize, if the idea and the concept and the positioning is not figured out, it doesn't matter what technology, the technology just comes in to enable what's already there.
The technology is important to track the results and to make sure you are not doing it. You are not spending your money. You need to spend your money for result, for return on investment.
Absolutely, and one final thing to add on the technology as well is that, you know, of course, it gives us tremendous insights in terms of what are the things that we speak about that are most resonating with people, because of course this helps us helps inform our content strategy as we continue to build out our brand.
One question about, we are talking about documenting. We have an example like Gary Vaynerchuk or big brands. Do you think this is something that can apply on a B2B business, on traditional business? You know, I'm working with manufacturing companies. Most of my audience are manufacturers or people who are working in very traditional companies.
Yeah.
Do you think we can do it if I am a manufacturer building machines, special machines?
Yeah.
Can we speak about the brand?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm really glad that you brought this up. I think that the more, so if we, you know, the more unlikely it is, the more effective it will actually work, because it's so new and so different. So, you know, and the way to think about it as well is, you know, thinking of it from a personal brand perspective, because ultimately people don't do business with faceless companies. They do business with people like them that they can identify with. Especially what's especially exciting is when people document not only all the things that are going great, but they're also documenting, you know, certain attention periods or certain struggles that they're going through. Many times people, we certainly thought, you know, this may show like a weakness or something, but in the same time, it also shows that this person is human, and that this is something that we can all relate to. I think the only thing we can't relate to is if something is absolutely perfect. I definitely cannot relate to that, you know, but I think the documentaries help this, give an opportunity to be able to talk about this. And even us, like for Tribe Tactics, one thing that I'm doing on the side is I'm doing a series of videos called daily documentaries. And even when I was creating them, I couldn't help but think this idea of daily documentaries, I think anybody in any industry or any discipline or any stage of the business can have their own daily documentary. Yeah, exactly. And even though it says daily, ideally you do it daily, but even if it's a weekly documentary, I think it could be a great start for a lot of people, because once they're finally famous and big, people will start to trace their journey back. And you never know which one of those videos is going to put you on the map.
Yeah, exactly. One of the difficulties about that is you need to have in-house the right culture. You know, people. If you want your people in your company to promote themselves, because we are talking about personal branding, and I agree with you. I think the culture of the company, the trust that you want to build will be built around your people. It's not built around the name of the company. It's your people that are building the trust.
Sure, and they're ultimately related as well. Yeah.
Yeah. How can we initiate this kind of culture in a traditional company? I don't know if you have the answer, but sometimes I've got people who say that we are not, we are working in manufacturing. We have not used to promote ourselves. How can we start in companies like those?
Start at the very, 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 very top. Because this sets an example for everybody else.
So you start with the management, the CEO?
C-level executives, or anybody that they believe would be a good representation of the company. And by the way, we're not doing anything different. Anybody who scores a face-to-face meeting with them probably gets to know how great they are in person anyway. You are just building that on a scalable medium, on a scalable format, so that you can accelerate those face-to-face meetings.
Yeah. So we start from the C-level. They need to show the example to the company. And
absolutely. And this is just one way to do it. We don't have all the answers, but I think it's it definitely, like, when you have somebody higher up setting an example. And by the way, this could be at the very top of the company, or depending on the context, it could be the top of a certain department or top of a certain function. But ultimately, it takes somebody who's in the leadership position so that they can kind of pave the way for other folks in some cases. What would your thoughts be on that, given your experience with the industry?
I agree. I think it's a very interesting. Sometimes we tend to begin from the base. We are going to catch commercial people, salespeople, for example, and I think it's not a good idea. You have to show the example. That's what I'm trying to do at Nile. We have started with Ask Karim, and now we are moving to Ask Nile because I want my people to promote themselves, to build their personal brand.
Yes,
I think it's very important. What I want is everybody who is talking to my company, I want them to feel like they talk with Karim or with Camille or with Dylan. It's the same thing. They shouldn't have a difference between in function of the people they are talking to in the company. We want to build an experience, a user experience for the company, and we want to show that everyone in the company is at the top.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely great, and I have a good feeling in me that this is something that's going to pay off for sure. And one thing that we sometimes do with our current clients as well is actually looking at different people inside the company and kind of creatively working with different people to portray what they are already an expert at. So, for example, if we have two people, person A could be an expert in topic X, and person B could be, an expert in topic Y, for instance. Because this way, people get different flavors, different essences. Again, with the restaurant example, you're going to meet the head chef, and then you're going to meet the dessert chef, and then you're going to meet the. I don't know too much about the restaurant industry, but you get the idea.
You know how to eat, but
I know. Yeah, exactly. I know how to sit at the table. Sure,
okay, Karim, thank you very much for this conversation. What, in conclusion, what would be your most important advice you want to give to a company started content marketing in 2019?
Yeah, so I would say start with daily documentaries. Don't overthink content. Rather, make the number one thing should not be quality or quantity. I'm talking about the short term, but rather it should be consistency. A lot of people like to get into the habit of posting something once a month, or even better, once a week. I think this should be every single day. We're trying to get to a stage where we're posting 10 times a day. We're not there yet at the time of this recording, but this is just how big the opportunity is. And also how big the market is right now. People really need to show up and share something of value with the world, of value being entertainment, utility, or both. And to do that on not a monthly, not a weekly, but on a daily basis. And hopefully the easiest way to do that is to start with daily documentaries. It's very easy. All you need is a smartphone. and the camera app, and that's it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Karim. Consistency is the key to start next year. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Karim, and thanks to your team as well.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.